Hi, everybody. Cynthia, thank you for having me for this workshop. I'm really thrilled to be here, and thank you all for choosing to be here today. And so my name's Nadine Mazzola. I'm a certified forest therapy guide, and I guide different forest bathing experiences, and I'll share a little bit about forest bathing in a moment. And I got into this work when I was healing for treatment for breast cancer, and was really looking for a way to support myself and support my immune system, and just started reading about forest bathing. And the Japanese government had done a lot of research on spending time out in nature. And back in the 1980s, they had a huge tech boom and noticed a big spike in autoimmune related illnesses and spikes in cancer and all kinds of things. And so they started studying what happens when people spend time outside, and they realized that the volatile oils, the oils that the trees give off, tree oil, that not only is part of the tree's immune system, but it actually boosts our human immune system. And so that was just like a wonderful thing to start to learn, how it could actually boost our immune system. And through learning to do being a forest bathing guide, I also just fell in love with this practice. It's my great joy to be able to do this these days. And forest bathing is really about just taking in the atmosphere of the forest, which we all do when we walk in the forest. But it's also about slowing down and using our senses and coming at it from a sensory point of view. Oftentimes we're really used to learning things and learning naturalist things, which are also really important. Like, it's the whole equation together that builds everything. um, and so taking time to just be in a sensory way really starts to build our relationship with the land. Um, so just so just this practice of forest bathing and taking some time, and it can be a little bit of time or it can be a lot of time, 5 minutes at a time, or 20, or hours at a time, whatever you have. But just switching gears and not needing to name everything, and just letting yourself float from one sense to another. One of the things I love most about forest bathing is that there's not really any right or wrong. It's a little different than, say, meditation, where it's maybe more of a formal practice and you're trying to um, let go of other thoughts and have your attention be on one thing. Whereas just in a sensory mode, just letting your attention drift from one thing to another, and then noticing if there's any pleasure or playfulness or enjoyment that's coming from that, and really letting that in. One of the things I find most often happens is when I'm out in the forest, that I get really playful. It takes me back to my childhood, and I want to, build something with flowers or sticks, or just skip along or something. So just really letting yourself do that if that's what you feel called to. So yeah, actually, like, we have one more thing to mention, which is I am newly an author, and I wrote a book called Forest Bathing with Your Dog. And so it's about combining the practice of forest bathing with walking your dog. And so if you're out there with your dog, a lot of times our dogs are very active and busy. And so this is really a way to actually work with the partner with the amazing relationship we have with our dogs, and the intuitiveness of being together and reading each other, and bringing that into forest bathing. I think this will last probably about 15 minutes or so. And I just encourage you to get comfortable or sit in whatever way you like. And I think, as a little preamble before I start, I might say that if we were all in person and we were doing a guided forest bathing walk today, I would have been offering you a series of invitations. And an invitation can be done in any way that feels right to you. And so this what we're calling, or what I'm calling, a meditation is really an invitation to just come along with me on a little bit of a stroll, a little imaginary stroll. So, getting yourself comfortable, shifting around. If you'd like to close your eyes, go ahead. If you'd like to keep them open or just do a soft focus, that's fine. Whatever is right for you. And when we start a forest bathing walk, we often start by awakening the senses in something that we call pleasures of presence, where we're just standing or sitting in a place and just noticing what's there with each of the senses. And so as we start this, I invite you to think back to maybe the last time you were outside, or if you did a forest bathing wander, maybe there, or maybe you're just outside this morning, or maybe you're looking outside the window now. And just with your sense of sound, just thinking about some of the things you heard the last time you were outside. I know a lot of you mentioned the birds. Maybe there's noise from the wind. Sometimes there are human noises mixed in. Also bringing in your sense of touch and just thinking about what it's like to have the breeze or the sun touch your skin. Or maybe feeling your feet on the ground where you are, or when you're outside. Just feeling in whatever way that contact with the earth. Maybe thinking when you step outside for the first time, noticing what the smells are. Noticing the smell of the outside air. Maybe this spring you've been walking by some flowers or the damp earth, just noticing those smells. And as you remember these things, just noticing where they land in your body. And if there's any enjoyment or maybe curiosity about something that goes along with it, letting that enjoyment or curiosity or playfulness land in your body as well. Letting it settle in. And another one of our senses is our sense of taste. And the next time you're outside, I invite you to taste the air. Maybe take a sip of it as if through a straw, or just let the air roll across your tongue. And just see what you notice. There might be a distinct taste, or it might just be something that we don't quite have words for. So for our sense of sight, we'll keep our eyes closed and maybe just imagine a place. It might be in your yard, it might be right outside your front steps, or it may be a spot that you know that you like to frequent. or it may be an imaginary spot. Just imagining what the smells and the air and the sounds are in that spot. Is it warm or cool, or a little bit of both? Is there a smell of some grass or the earth, flowers, or perhaps something else that you're not really quite sure what it is? Just feeling your feet or your body sitting or standing in this place. Feeling that place where our bodies or our feet connect to the earth. Feeling that support of that contact. I wonder what it would be like to be rooted somewhere in this place. I wonder what kind of roots you might imagine for yourself. They might go out, they might go down. I wonder how far down they might go or out they might go, and what other roots they might notice. What other things they might notice under the ground or along the ground. And also extending out from this spot, you just might imagine that you're reaching out. Maybe there are some tendrils of some kind, or maybe you're a bird taking light from this one spot. You're just traveling slowly along on a little wander around this spot on this land. Noticing as you go the smells, the sensation of the air or the sun or the cool shadows. Activating your imagination along the way, and just what might you see? What kind of place might feel most nurturing to you? Is it a meadow or a woodland forest? Maybe a pine forest? Maybe it's the ocean or along a stream. Just imagining the kind of place that feels supportive to you, that feels restful or invigorating. a place that gives you enjoyment. It might be your own backyard. And again, just noticing the smells, imagining what you're seeing, the sounds. And perhaps you eventually come to a spot that is a spot that can tend you in some way, that offers you some nurturing or some tending, and that has something to share with you. Maybe it's just a spot to rest and sit quietly. I wonder what's there. I wonder what you would fill that spot up with. What plants? Maybe there are some rocks or trees or ferns or birds. Maybe there's a view, or maybe it's kind of a snuggly little spot. And just allowing this spot to tend you, support you. Support you in whatever way feels right. And in a moment, getting ready to come back to the point where we started from. And before leaving this spot, just wondering if there's anything to share or offer in return to this spot that offers itself its own tending to us. Any tending that we would like to give this spot. And then as you feel ready, just start to wander back to where we started, that place that we were rooted, noticing what's along the way. Maybe there are things to listen to, things to touch, things to see. And as you arrive back at your spot where we started, where our roots are, just knowing that you can go back to that spot, that tending spot, anytime that you want. And it's always there as a place of support. And as you arrive back in the place where our roots are, feeling our feet or our body on the ground, just imagining that, just kind of coming fully back to this spot. Imagining what smells or sights or sounds might be in this spot where we started. And as you feel ready, just take your time and coming back to our Zoom circle here and opening your eyes. And Cynthia, maybe in a moment or two, just putting us back on the group view. Just taking your time gently to come back into this circle. Just looking around, noticing your spot. So welcome back, folks. And if you'd like to turn your video back on, you're welcome to. If you'd like to keep it off, you're also welcome to. Just gonna check the chat. And so when we do forest bathing, in between invitations, we'll go around and share a few words. And sharing is optional. And sharing in whatever way you like is really welcome. So it might be with a few words, and the prompt is just, what are you noticing? Or it might be with a song or a poem or a movement. And just know that however you'd like to share, including just saying, sharing with your silence is really welcome. So we'll just go around and just maybe something from your little imaginary wander, just sharing something that you noticed on your wander.
I'm sitting out on my porch, to the trees moving. Just a slight breeze, and actually how much noise even a slight breeze was making in the trees just now.
And for myself, I'm just was remembering the being with these buttercups yesterday, kind of this little tiny meadow, but I was just they're just all starting to really come into bloom. And so that was kind of part of my wander, was just being among the buttercups and enjoying their wonderful yellowness. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. It's just one of my favorite things is just sharing and hearing everybody's stories. It's very powerful in its own way.
I want to just thank you all for coming. I know it's a beautiful day outside and there's lots of things pulling on your time, but it really is important for us to just slow down and to stop, to look, to listen, right? Taste, use all of our senses.
So thank you. And
Right.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Wonderful. Have a fabulous afternoon. Take care.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.